Hey everyone, welcome to part 5 of how to teach your kids responsibility. And so we have been on a journey together around what are the essentials, how not to respond, how to build resilience, and then what are some big takeaways. And in our final video here, I want to talk about okay, so how do we recover, regroup, reconnect when it starts to fall apart? Whether it's immediately, right? They made a plan and it totally didn't work, or it is it was working for a while and then things start to fall apart and you start to see like, oh, they're not being responsible, they're not living up to their end of the bargain. What do we do? How do we capitalize on that learning? And so with Imogen, going back to my story, she had the plan was for her to do her homework on Thursday mornings. It all fell apart. She had that day that she had to go to school and tell her teacher, and we did the planning around how are you going to navigate that day. But then, okay, so we can't keep going back to doing homework on Thursday mornings, right? Like, this is clearly not working. And luckily, she didn't want to keep doing that plan. But I want to talk about, okay, so what did we do on the back end of that? And what can you do? And the very first thing that I want to say before I even get into the 4 steps is we need to reframe how we come at parenting, because very often we come at parenting thinking we are our kids' manager, right? And when they're real little, you kind of are. You're in charge of when they go to nap and snack and bedtime and bath time and all of that. But pretty quickly, you have to move out of manager role and you become more of a consultant. And with a consultant, you aren't actually in charge of the decisions that they're making. You are a wise presence that is there to help your child. It's there to help them navigate life. And they may or may not take you up on your advice, but you have more life skills, you have more life experience. And so you're there to help them, but you're not in control of them. And so even when it comes to regrouping and replanning, what you don't want to do is take the agency away from your child and say, oh, you messed it up, so now I'm in charge, right? We did it your way, now we're going to do it my way. That's not actually helpful and doesn't teach them responsibility. It enables irresponsibility, because of what it says is you're actually not capable, you're not responsible, I don't trust you, I gave you a shot and you blew it. And they're less likely to try it the next time. So what can we do? How do we regroup, reconnect? So I've got 4 steps for you. The very first thing is connect before correct, right? Connect before correct. This, we can't say it enough. As a parent, they need to know that you're on their side, that you are for them, right? So when Imogen blew it with her homework, I didn't add on to whatever consequence the teacher was gonna give her. And what happened was the teacher gave her one more day and said, okay, well, you have until tomorrow, and if it is not done, you have to stay in for recess and do your homework at recess time. And when Imogen's behavior report came home for that week, it talked about how her homework was late and I had to sign it. But we have a rule in our house that home is school is school. And so there were baked in consequences that Imogen was going to have to live with in school. One of the things that your kid really needs is a safe home base. They need to know that you are their safe person, that you're on their side. And sometimes, the responsibility does impact you, but they still need to know that even if they've disappointed you, you love them. And so, if you're sitting down, and I always recommend regrouping, and replanning outside of the moment of upset. So when they've blown it and everything is terrible, say it's, not cleaning up their room or not getting their laundry done or not doing their chores or whatever that is, you can have the moment of upset and then say, let's schedule a time. Let's put a time down where we're going to reconnect and talk about this. And that gives you time to calm down, then time to calm down. Sometimes you might even say, and I'd like us to come to this meeting with this in mind. I want you to think through this before we meet, depending on how old they are. But the first thing to do is connect with them before correct. That they need to know you're they're a safe person, you're on their side, that you're going to help them through it, that you love them no matter what. The second thing then is to mirror back what you saw. And all of this needs to be offered as, rather than like, I'm going to lecture you and tell you what you did, I always do it as like, hey, would you like to hear what I saw or what I observed? And so with Imogen, I was able to say, would you like to see what I observed on Thursday morning? When we were outside of the moment And she was like, sure. And I said, I saw that you were really overwhelmed, that it felt like it was way too much with at one point you said, I'm only done page 1 and I have 4 pages. That it just felt like there was too much to do in that short amount of time. And you seemed to be really unhappy with it. And then it also felt stressful that mom and dad weren't available to help you. And she was able to go, yeah, I was like, does that seem right? And she was able to say, yeah. So, it could be like, I observed, say they were careless with an object. I observed that you put that in your backpack in a way that wasn't safe. Or I observed that you didn't pick up any of your laundry and so it didn't get washed. Or I've noticed that you put everything off to the last minute, or that you don't plan ahead, or you don't budget for it, or whatever that is. So you're offering them your observations rather than telling them you did this, you did that. This is what I saw, and then check in. I saw that you were upset or you were frustrated. Does that seem right? Because really you're demonstrating respect and you're helping them gain reflective thinking. Was that how I was feeling? Oh, or maybe you saw something they didn't notice in themselves. So, the first thing is show that you care. The second is mirror back to them what you observed. I observed that you were stressed out. I observed that you were late. I observed, this, whatever that is. It's your observation. It's your perspective. You might be wrong, but, again, you're a wise consultant. You're offering them your perspective. The third thing then is curiosity questions. Rather than saying, so this is what you need to do, say, ask them, well, how did you feel? Or what did you think might happen? Not what do you think was going to happen? That's not helpful. But how did you think that was going to play out? Or what do you wish was different? Or how do you want to feel about it? Or what grade would you like to get? Or how would you like your room to look? Or whatever that is, really drawing things out from them. Because again, you're helping them think through, what is it that they want? How did they feel? What would they like to do differently? They feel listened to. You're helping them think through the problem on their own and to build on the solution for themselves. So, start with curiosity questions. And then the very last thing to do is to make a new plan. And that's just going back to video 1, right? And so re-clarifying expectations. Do these work? I don't get to set the homework expectations. That's school. It's due on Thursday. But at home, one of the things I talked about in an earlier video was we're teaching responsibility around cleaning your room, and it's Sunday before dinner, right? But maybe that's not the best day. Maybe that's not setting up for success. Should we change the expectation? Does it need to be done by Friday? Would that make your weekend better? So if there's an ability to adjust the expectation on your end, you can talk about that. If there's not, then you got to re-clarify. Okay, so it's due on Thursday. And then boundaries. Are there things that I can do to be being helpful here? Not, and they might say, oh, do my homework for me, or, that you pick up my room for me. And you can say, well, I'm not willing to do that. Because remember, boundaries are how you're willing to help without being resentful. And so our boundaries didn't change when it came to homework. These are the times that we can help you and be in a great mood to do it, be at our best selves. We're not willing to do it on Thursday morning. And so then, once you re-clarify expectations, check in with the boundaries. Is there something that I'm doing that isn't helpful, or a way that I could be more helpful? And then make a new plan. And so with Imogen, when I said, I noticed that waiting to Thursday morning, I know it feels really boring to do your homework before then, and you just kind of want to put it off. But I also noticed you don't seem very happy. It's really stressing you out. I don't feel happy when you feel that way. It's a terrible way to start a day. What would you think about trying to do it on the weekend and just getting it done with? So then you don't have to think about it in the morning, right? And so that's our new plan, that she's going to get to choose Saturday or Sunday, and she'll let us know, and we're available to help as long as it's before dinner. And that may work, that may not work. We may have to come back and say, okay, well, doing it all in one day is not the right thing. Maybe we need to piece it out and do a little bit each day. Making the plan might take a few times, right? But that's all part of the learning. And if you can frame everything in terms of, this is learning. You're learning to adapt and adjust, to be resilient, to make plans. You're learning empathy. You're learning capability. All of that is super important. And so, again, a plan may work for a while and then it doesn't. And you need to come back and regroup out of a moment of upset and go through those same steps again. And I'm on your side. Here's some curiosity questions. Can I share with you some of my observations that I've noticed or how I'm feeling about it? And okay, let's make a new plan and try it out. And in the end, responsibility, just keep coming back to, it's a life skill, right? And sometimes maybe you've bitten off more than you can chew and you need to dial it back and say, I don't think we're ready for this responsibility. We'll try again in 6 months. We'll try again next month. And sometimes it's just stumbling through it and allowing them to struggle and knowing in the end, it's not your job to teach them to clean dishes. It's not your job to teach them to do math homework. It's not your job to teach them to drive the car. It's your job to teach them how to be a responsible human being, how to be a contributing member of society. And in both getting it right and getting it wrong, all of those are opportunities to learn. So I hope this has been helpful in how to teach your kids responsibility. And keep at it. Keep at it. Remember, it's a lifelong lesson. And so they might get it now. And then the next thing, that the next level of responsibility, it's going to be a new challenge. And you just keep coming back to the same basics. It's the same steps, just the types of responsibility change throughout their ages. So hope that was helpful. Thanks for joining me in this.